Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We're starting to see some people come on. If you can hear me, give me a little note in the chat window, please. Hello, Jeff Pittman. Oh, great to see so many there. Great stuff. We'll give just a moment now for everyone to get in and get settled. So I guess we'll just watch the participants again for another 30 seconds or so, see if they're increasing. But I guess for those of you who are on, you should see a presentation. You should also see some pictures on the right-hand side. Down at the bottom, there's a chat function and a question and answer window. We could use that as well. Be a great way to get our questions asked. Hello, Shanna and Trevor. Great to see you on. Lexi. We're still climbing in numbers, so we'll give it one more minute. Okay, I think we'll probably get started because everybody's time is important. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Craig Foley, and I'm the CEO of Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador. Very happy to be able to host this today. Want to welcome everyone on behalf of our partners. Of course, our main presenters today are TCAR. I'm used to saying TCII, but TCAR now is our new partner. Of course, OCOA is always there. And our DMOs, Adventure Central, Destination Labrador, Destination St. John's, Go Western, and Legendary Coast of Eastern Newfoundland and Labrador. I've got 10 minutes, so I've got to speak really fast to get through whatever I'd want to say. I just wanted to give a bit of an overview, a bit of a summary on where we are with things so that people understand what we're trying to do around advocacy and communications and some of our skills and knowledge, but not to dwell too much on that because we're here for the opportunities around winter market. Of course, we've been looking at things through the lens of health and safety, business liquidity, employment, and recovery. We've been meeting heavily with politicians both at at three levels: municipal, provincial, and federal. Re-emphasizing those things. Some of the activities we've undertaken since COVID began, very heavy on the outreach. We've had over 95,000 contacts to industry by email. We've had over 3,500 contacts by our outreach team, whether it be by phone call or a personalized email. Our recap emails or COVID emails, we've had 140 of those reaching 600 people. What we've heard as a follow-up to that was that it was very important for industry to get a common source of information, a common source of understanding. And we've petered those back now as the information has slowed and how it's coming out. But we are still seeing some great results on that. Of course, when we began in COVID, I mean, it seems like 27 years ago that this began, but it's only 8 or 9 months. We started with the one industry philosophy. We didn't really look at who's members and who, what organization one belonged to, because we knew this was having far-reaching impacts across the entire industry. We brought people together, through all regions and multiple sectors, but it then became very clear that people wanted to communicate on a sector by sector basis, so that they could compare things. And then, of course, when things started to open up, we rolled into the one industry readiness and consultations, where we had the best practices information and tips and tricks on how to move ahead. We've done 27 of those sector association or sector meetings since COVID began. Of course, skills and knowledge is one of the big things that we do. We were lucky to have our national partner eMerit come on board and give some complimentary programming. We've had over 700 people participate in that. There's been over 700 people take part in our webinars to date. And of course, the Serve Responsible, when curbside pickup just began, it was you could serve liquor after a while with some changes to the legislation, but one of the requirements was to do the Serve Responsible, which of course H&L provides. We thought to get operators a leg up, we could provide that complimentary as well. So we had 983 people take advantage of that. Not only have we been putting out information, we've wanted to hear information so that we can advocate effectively. We've done 10 industry surveys. From that information, we send it to our key parties like TCAR, like ACOA, and other government organizations. One of the success stories, I guess, of that was the tourism and hospitality program. That was used, the information gleaned from that to help develop that program. So hearing from operators has been very important in what we're doing. Here's some of the feedback that we've had in these research documents. 90% of respondents said they've experienced a decrease in revenue. 66% said they needed CEWs or queues to continue. 55% open, but with reduced capacity. 75%, one of the biggest risks to their business is not being able to access guests from outside the Atlantic bubble. 70% of respondents said they would not be able to stay in business without access to government support. 75% of respondents said one of the biggest risks to their business is the loss of cash flow. And the majority of respondents didn't foresee revenues returning pre-COVID-19 levels until 2022 or 2023. So these are all things that we use in our advocacy as well. This is basically what we think operators need based on what we've learned. Eligibility for tax breaks, extended CEWs or queues, grants for infrastructure and PPE costs, increased access to government-backed interest-free loans, tourism-focused aid package, discussions and information about returning to pre-COVID-19 operating levels, a plan for reopening the borders. And that's what we've been saying. Health and safety, as we've said, has been first and foremost. We're not advocating to anyone to just throw open the borders. We want to be able to do this using science and using the best medical advice possible. But if we don't have a plan of how we're going to do it, we're not going to be able to respond when that is possible. And again, more positive and fact-based discussions. That's what operators are saying. So I thought that was a bit of an overview, and it's not every day you get to have 100 or so people sitting in front of you to run through this. This has primarily been the focus of H&L. We continue to have meetings this week. We've met with the Premier. We've met with Minister Studley, Minister Davis. These meetings continue. Any feedback that you have, please reach out to us, and of course our partners, because they can feed information back through. With all that said, if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer them or reach out individually. But you came here today to hear about some other things. And we talked about the importance of good research to make decisions. Our first presenter today is no stranger to anybody on the call, Michaela. She's going to take us through a presentation, providing we can get our technology to work. So let's see if we can get that going.
So I'm starting to share my screen. Okay,
We have it.
so everything, you see everything all right, and you can hear me all right?
Your audio is not great, but that's what we got. So let's go.
I'm trying to do my best on a different computer, one of three in the world that is not used to Zoom. So I'll try to do my best to get through this. So we'll jump right in. So we will talk about the results of our maritime winter travel survey. And no, why is that not moving? I'm trying to move my slides. And it's not working.
Are you okay, Michaela? I lost your audio for a minute.
I can't move my slides.
You can't move your slide? Okay,
Just stop sharing
maybe.
for a moment and I'll try this again. Just a sec.
How bad would it be for Andrea to jump ahead? Listen, we just did this with the Irish group. It was a lot of moving. If you want to email your presentation, we'll make sure your slides get moved if you want to do that.
Okay, I'm back at my screen here now. Let's see if give me one more try.
One more try and then we can flip. Although mine really needs to follow Michaela, but as we're all in this together, it's all good, guys. It's all good.
Yeah.
My computer needs 2 clicks to respond. Yeah.
Was it a new computer you got or an old one you got, Michaela?
Ancient. Ancient.
Oh, there we go. We got that part anyway.
It needs 2 clicks to do something. Okay, so do you see my title slide?
We can see your title slide, and now down in the bottom left, we have it. Excellent.
A lot of words. All right, so we're business, I think. And the internet connection is not that great, but again, I'll try to do my best to get through this. So a lot of words, you don't need to read them all. We all know why we're here and why we're doing this. So we're still in the middle of a terrible, terrible, deadly pandemic. And we have to continue to rely for now on our Atlantic bubble to keep tourism in business as best as we can. And to inform our winter marketing campaign, we planned this survey among maritime residents, so that includes residents of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI. And we conducted this survey a couple of weeks ago. You see it here, October 27th to November 6th. So, and as you know, if we have learned anything over the last 9 months when we do survey work, right now surveys are providing us with a snapshot in time. We as the pandemic moves and the caseload moves and changes around in Canada and globally, our residents' opinion changes on what they're planning to do and things like that. So a snapshot in time, it's pretty current, and what we're going to see in the future all depends on what's going to happen in a couple of months from now. So what I want to start off with is just to put a little bit of context around winter travel. I think when somebody says winter travel, we all, like, there's 75, 80 of us on the call today. Everybody has a different idea of what that is when you talk about winter travel. So some see the swooshes down the hill on the fancy new downhill skis from Christmas. Others see skating, playing hockey, you know, things like that. But really from previous surveys and previous research that has been completed over many, many years, winter travel, when we talk, the context we're using today is when we talk about winter travel, it's really travel during the winter months. So for the purposes of our survey, we defined winter as travel in December January, February, and March. So that's how we defined it. And as you can see here on this slide, Canadians, oddly enough, are not great winter travelers. We don't go out very much in the winter. So in the Global Tourism Watch survey that Destination Canada has been doing over many, many years, it's been pretty consistent that the incidence of travel during the winter is relatively low. Now they have December, January, February only here included, but as you can see, only like about 1 in 10 Canadians take to the road or the skies during the winter months. And some of you on the call are probably around long enough that you might remember our travel attitudes and motivation study back in 2014. And one of the more interesting things we did in that survey, now everything is interesting there, but one of the neat things we did was to gauge Canadians' travel preferences. And what we did, we had sort of opposite end options for making travel decisions or travel preferences. And one of the opposite ends we had was I like taking winter vacations to go skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling, etc. Or during the winter months, I prefer to take a vacation pleasure trip to sun destinations. And it's pretty clear who's winning here in that. So again, even for those of us who do travel in the winter months, we're more likely to go to a sun destination rather than to go down the slope somewhere. And related to that, the interest in engaging those snow-based or winter outdoor activities like downhill skiing or snowboarding or snowshoeing is relatively low. And again, with Destination Canada in their survey, interest level is at 12–14% for some of these activities. So we got to keep that in mind as we move forward and look at our own survey results in the Maritimes. It sets the stage a little bit, and hopefully it can level our expectations a little bit what we're going to see in terms of what the plans are among our Maritime friends. So here you go. In terms of travel intentions, as you can see, the big yellow bars dominate the screen here in the chart. And to use the anatomical term here, it looks a little bit like our Maritime friends are giving winter travel a little bit of the middle finger. So only 17% of Maritime residents are currently planning to take an overnight pleasure trip this winter. Again, we're talking time frame December 2020 to March 2021. And as you can see, like when we looked at the data, there's really no big difference in terms of location of residence. Like all the 3 Maritime provinces, they're equally likely or unlikely to take an overnight pleasure trip during the winter. But where we did see some big differences are in the various age groups. And as you can see, a big yellow bar there in the 55+ segment, very unlikely to travel. The most likely ones to go on the road are the millennials at age 18 to 34, and the age group 35 to 54, they're the most undecided. So there's still, as you can see, so we have about a quarter of residents in the Maritimes that are undecided, that could sway either way. So despite the low numbers right now, there's still a little bit of wiggle room to see that improving. Before we talk about the actual travel, just want to put putting your mind at ease is probably the wrong term, but sort of along the lines, it's me, not you. The reasons why our Maritime friends do not plan to travel are vastly COVID-19 related. As you can see here, our top 3 reasons that have been cited, they're all related to the pandemic. And usually we don't see, what we usually see why people don't travel is related to costs, affordability, or no time. People are too busy or have some personal reasons, which are kind of eclipsed in our case now. And as you can see, like the affordability issue or financial reasons or too expensive to cost is only around 9% of maritime residents who wouldn't travel because of that. And then we have a few residents who would normally travel to some destinations but won't because of the pandemic. And there's a small share of the population there that won't travel at all during the winter. So they'll be hard to convince. But again, like we need to stress that the top reasons why most Maritimers are not likely to travel are related to the pandemic, and that's not a surprise to anyone, I would think. So in terms of course, it's always good to know what would stimulate a little bit of travel. Of course, if someone is afraid of the pandemic and doesn't feel it's the right time to go on the road, they'd be hard to convince. But the ones that are sitting on the fence, there might be a few things we could do for them to get them going. And as we've seen, the older age segments, there's not really a hell of a lot that can entice them to get on the road. But for the other people that do plan some trips, a package offer would be by far the most encouraging incentive to book that trip. So, and the good thing about this is we, as tourism operators, have control over these package offers. We can design them, we can price them, we can promote them. Now we always know there's always somebody who's looking for a discount or money back, things like that. But they work for some, of course, they always do. But most importantly, the package offers we can create, and this is one way to create additional value for money. Value for money is, I know I've been talking about this for 10 years and you guys are getting sick of me talking about it, but value for money is more important than ever in these times. As we have talked about earlier, with the changing consumer behavior, changing values that consumers have these days, we're not looking so much for material things, we're looking for value, things that that we can enjoy, that we can share with our loved ones, that make us feel good. And we have complete control over that by creating packages. We have no control over the price of an airline ticket. So this is really good news in terms of how we can stimulate some additional interest in travel this winter and trying to get people on the go and come and visit our province. Just to dig a little bit deeper into the travel intentions Maritimers have. So we established that about 17% of Maritimers do plan a trip. And just so I'm going to throw this number out here because when we get some numbers and travel volumes, you know, it might put the 17% in perspective. So the Maritimes have about 1.5 million adults are aged 18 or over. And if we take that 17%, hold on, no, I'm jumping ahead here. Backtrack a little, sorry. So out of those 17%, actually was a little bit of surprise to see that 67% were taken out of province trips. So among those who do plan a trip, about 2/3 plan to go out of province, and 42% are planning a trip within the province. So it's a bit of a surprise to see that out of province travel, but as you can see where the out of province destinations are, it looks like Maritimers are staying within the Maritimes actually, so visiting each other Nova Scotians going to New Brunswick going to PEI, things like that. So other destinations playing a little bit of a lesser role here. Some are brave enough to planning trips to other countries, even to the US. Alberta features there, Quebec. And as you can see, Newfoundland and Labrador here, 4% are planning to visit our province. So now we can talk some more numbers. 4%, if you take the population of approximately 1.5 million adults, 18 or over, we are talking about 60 to 61,000 potential visitors. I know this sounds like a really big number. It is. And hopefully we'll see most of these guys here actually coming for their trip. So the potential looks small right now on the grand scheme of things, but the more people we can convince to come here, the better. So what does those 4% that are planning a trip currently during the winter months to Newfoundland and Labrador, so what does it look like? So there's a little bit of good news there. In general, most of the trips will likely take place in January, February, and March. It was a little bit of a surprise that we didn't pick up. It doesn't look like we picked up any Christmas travel. We had these questions filled in so that we would find out whether there were any plans for Christmas travel, but it doesn't look like we picked that up at December, only 8%. And so the biggest potential, of course, for the beginning of the year, probably related to people's timing when they feel most comfortable waiting a little bit. So for the most part, Maritimers are likely to come here for vacation and a smaller share to visit relatives. And what we also found out was that people are more likely to drive, which is probably not a surprise, as people currently feel more comfortable to travel in their own vehicle. Actually, residents of PEI would be the most likely to fly here, and the rest, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, more likely to drive. And then again, what I see as a good news perspective is the average length of stay that visitors currently plan is about 5 nights. That's not bad. That's a lot more than I expected. And so we get certainly, there's lots of time to entertain our visitors, lots of time to offer them things. Those 5 days need to be filled. And also we have a few shorter term stays. And also there's a small proportion of Maritimers who plan to be here between 1 and 2 weeks actually. So that's also very good news. And the other good news is that the majority of the visitors or Maritimers who plan a trip are planning to stay at a hotel or a resort. And there's always a proportion, since we do have family visitors, they're likely to stay with their family and friends as well. And from a travel party perspective, most Maritimers are likely to visit with their spouse or partner, and some of them also with children under 18, sorry. Yeah. So, and here, this is the meaty part. I think that's what some of the information that many of you have been waiting for. So what we were trying to find out is, of course, most importantly, what potential visitors would want to do when they come here. So, well, since we expected a smaller proportion of maritime residents to actually travel or planning to travel to Newfoundland and Labrador, we also asked them about past winter travel. So when we talk about past winter travel, again, we're talking about the time span between December and March. And we asked them what kind of typical activities they would engage in when they go on winter trips. So the results of this question is on the slide here. So this is what Mary Thomas told us what they typically do, the yellow bar. So as you can see, shopping, experiencing local cuisine, scenic touring, enjoying local nightlife, and experiencing local entertainment such as music performances or theater performance, most certainly top the list here. So these are the typical activities that Mary Thomas would engage in when they go on a trip during the winter months. And so after we asked those Mary Thomas what they typically do, we also asked them, we followed up with the question and asked them what type of activities they would plan an entire trip around. So let's say when somebody mentioned that they go downhill skiing or snowmobiling as a typical activity, we asked them whether they would plan an entire trip around it. And we kind of, I like the term anchor activities because it kind of says, okay, well, downhill skiing is the one thing I want to do, and that's what I plan my trip around. Or shopping is the one thing I want to do, and I plan my trip around this. So this is where the term anchor activities, anchor activity comes from, and Destination Canada and the Global Tourism Watch actually they do use that concept, and we kind of took it from them because we like it. Gives us very good information on what people have on their mind when they go on trips in the winter. So as you can see, those general activities, as we call them, shopping, experiences, cuisine, and things like that, dominate, both in terms of what people typically do and also as kind of anchor activities. Whereas those snow-based or outdoor activities are, again, a little bit of lesser interest to the Mary Thomas, and this is very much in line with what we were saying at the beginning, that first of all, not many Canadians do travel in the winter, and engagement in or participation in these activities is comparatively low to some of these general activities. And in the Maritimes, again, when we look at the age distribution of interest levels in the different activities, those snow-based activities are completely driven by millennials. Those are the ones that have the highest interest in these activities. So, but again, there's a little bit of good news here as well, because in order to attract maritime visitors to Newfoundland and Labrador, we don't necessarily need snow. So things that people might want to do and see here when they come are not necessarily dependent on snow. We can do a lot, they're interested in a lot of other things, and that will be helpful just in case winter doesn't come. So there's still things to do, and they're actually top of mind for our maritime visitors. So specifically now, what respondents, maritime residents told us what they would do in Newfoundland and Labrador on their trip. Again, we see the same type of picture emerging. So it's very reflective of what Maritimers typically do during a winter trip. And they're looking for the same type of experiences on a trip to Newfoundland and Labrador. So those general activities, again, generated the highest interest levels, and the snow-based or outdoor activities a little bit less so. And again, like the activities where people would plan an entire trip around, again, dominated by general activities such as local cuisine, shopping, scenic touring, things like that. Again, it opens up a lot of opportunities. And in terms of the snow-based activities or outdoor activities, the highest interest we've seen was in watching the Northern Lights, snowmobiling, ice fishing, things like that. And again, as the anchor activities, Northern Lights, downhill skiing, tobogganing, so fun things to do and very unique things as well in terms of Northern Lights, I think. So again, even for those Maritimers who do plan a trip to Newfoundland and Labrador, it is more likely, they're more likely to look for sort of getaway experiences rather than looking for that 1 week in the powder snow and skiing or snowmobiling. So again, it opens a lot of opportunity. Yeah, moving on here. Yeah, so again, a lot of words, but you've heard most of it. So there's, despite the small intent to travel right now, there is an opportunity to stimulate a little bit more of the winter interest in winter travel. When we looked at some of the responses, why Maritimers didn't plan a trip to Newfoundland and Labrador, some of the things they mentioned suggest that they do need a little bit of education. There's a little bit of lack of knowledge noticeable, like people saying, I don't know what to do, what there is to do and see, I don't know anything about it. The place doesn't have the right experiences that I'm looking for. I want to see Newfoundland and Labrador during a different season. So these are all things that we can address, and telling maritime residents, well, Newfoundland Labrador is a fun place to visit any time of the year. Here's what you can do. This is where you can go, what there's to see. So from an educational point of view, there's a lot of opportunity there to increase the potential of travel to our province during the winter. And as we have seen, the packages really do play a big role and can create a lot of interest and stimulate travel. And despite Maritimers mostly looking for a getaway experience, there's no reason why we can combine different types of experiences. And that's the beauty about packages. There's a little bit for everything, whether you have a family or whether you have couples. You know, you can, there's a lot of things you can combine in a package. And we have a lot of creative tourism operators here in the province. So, and again, there's a big chance to create unusual and unique experiences that can only come true in our beautiful province. And with the right messaging to the Maritimers, I'm sure we can entice them to come here. And again, I can't stress enough how important it is to create value. And I mentioned it before, we have 5 nights to play with, and we have young, potentially more younger visitors rather than older ones. So there's a lot of potential here to create some fun and unique stays. And we'll have, especially February, if you think about it, there's some special occasions there. Valentine's Day, we've all been cooped up in our homes and houses. I'm sure there's that special day where a special occasion where someone wants to take somebody somewhere for a getaway. So again, lots of opportunity. One of the interesting things in the survey that came out is interest in spa experiences. It's sort of in the middle of the pack when people gauge or let us know what their interest level is, but even in other surveys, we have seen that increase, that type of upward trending in spa experiences. And what I'm thinking sort of, you know, especially in the winter, you know, you go out some winter fun, to do some winter fun, you get a little bit cold, maybe a little bit wet in the snow, and then you go have this wonderful spa experience, and then you go and have a beautiful supper somewhere. So it's sort of that spa experience. I see it a little bit as a tie between the outdoor fun and then the evening activities, you know, the romance, whatever, whichever way you want to take it. So anyone who has I guess, an opportunity to include spa experience in a package or something like that, I'd certainly check that out. So that's it in a nutshell about the Maritime survey. And just very, very quickly, we just completed our residence survey, where we asked about summer travel, and also we're trying to gauge interest in winter travel. So in the coming months, December to next year in March. And again, The picture is very, very similar to what we've seen in the Maritimes. We have about 26% of residents currently who are planning to take an overnight pleasure trip this winter in Newfoundland and Labrador. So that's a little bit higher than in the Maritimes, but then again, like, we don't have the trouble getting on a plane or jumping in the car or on ferry or long ways to go. So that makes sense to me. Again, from an activity perspective, the same picture here, much higher interest in general activities such as shopping, scenic touring, and experiencing local cuisine. And again, they're the ones where travelers or residents are most likely to plan trips around. And from a snow-based activity perspective, snowmobiling and ice fishing right on top of the list, a little bit of skating. Northern Lights come up here as well. So again, Northern Lights is something we have seen in other surveys. It's something that has trending upwards over the last few years. It's certainly a unique experience, and hopefully some people really get to do that, because there's nothing we can't direct the stars to look beautiful. So, and in terms of regions that our residents are planning to visit, St. John's tops the list there, and the central region. And we put Terra Nova. I know that sometimes it's really difficult where to put Terra Nova. We actually in the survey we did include it as in the central region, so that might be a reason why you might see higher interest in the central region, or planning to go to the central region. And again, when we see the higher levels in the types of interest, it makes sense that maybe St. John's comes out on top of the list here. So again, very similar picture. These are preliminary results. I had to do manual math in this case, which was fun. I haven't done it in a long time. But we should get the results very soon, and we will also, as soon as we have our report finalized on the Maritime travel survey, we will then share with everybody on our website. And by all means, if you have any specific questions, there's a lot of data that we do have that we don't have a chance here to dig into. Please drop us an email, drop us a note, talk to us, and we will share everything we have. That is it for me.
Thanks very much, Michaela. A lot of information put in there. I'm going to mute myself here. I know that a couple of people had some questions, and I think we have a way, because we set this up, we've had over 100 register. We had to do it in the webinar format, but I think now, because the numbers are a little bit lower, if people raise their hands after Andrea, I'll be able to open the mic and we can have that interactive kind of conversation. So we'll hold our questions for Michaela until we get into that portion. Andrea, let's try and share your screen.
All right, I will try. Well, we've got some great information that Michaela gave us. Aren't we excited about that? And I'm so share the PowerPoint presentation, right, Craig? This one. I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works. Do you have it? Hello.
Yep, we're good, Andrea. Go ahead.
Okay. So we had a lot of information from Michaela, and that is really terrific. And to be honest, I was so eager to get this information from Michaela so we could pinpoint some of the things that we wanted to do. But it is the basis of what we're going to be doing for winter in a go forward. So yes, we are doing winter marketing this year. We've often done a winter in province campaign, but this year we're expanding our efforts into the Atlantic bubble. Hence the reason why we did the research to see whether or not we can do that. Again, as we all know, objectives are to get people to come to Newfoundland and Labrador, and for them to travel around, and for residents to travel around, and therefore increasing revenue to operators. We are going to be doing 2 campaigns, as I mentioned. One is an in-province campaign. We're going to build on the winter. There's winter and then there's winter campaign that we have been doing over the past couple of years, but with a stay-home year feel and bent to it. Stay tuned, film on at 11. It is going to be a province-wide campaign. It is going to be multimedia with all, you know, the radio, TV, digital, billboards potentially. We've done those in past. Outdoor billboards, and we're going to do it in January, February, and March, which is what the research is telling me is when people are traveling. Again, the call to action is going to be to the newfoundlandandlabrador.com website, newfoundlandlabrador.com website, as well as the Stay Home Year. And as we've been doing, and very successfully through the Stay Home Year campaign and through last year's in-province campaign, which provided, and it was only a small in-province campaign, provided 23,000 page views to tourism businesses with over 29 business referrals. So it's working really, really well. Travel offers also did really well. So we're going to be continuing to do that in the go forward. For Atlantic Canada, to my knowledge, and as you all know, I've been around for a few years, this is probably the first time we've done a winter marketing campaign in the Maritimes or in the rest of Atlantic Canada. So it's going to be a pretty targeted campaign to specific audiences. It's going to have to start with general awareness, and we're going to start that general awareness probably digitally in December to just get some content out there to get them started. And then we're going to kick in January, February, and March with, again, a multimedia campaign, a digital path to purchase campaign that includes all your packages and offers. It was great to hear that packages and offers are really, really keen and that they're looking for that information, because we're going to have to start looking at those packages and offers. The themes potentially is going to be winter experiential, but we're learning that it's not only winter experiential, but it's also winter fun. So it's winter getaways, weekends, entertainment weekends, snowshoeing, all of those things that Michaela spoke of are going to be the themes that we're going to pull together in a campaign. And definitely we're going to need to have those packages. Those are the packages that we're going to need, because just like the stay-at-home year campaign, just like the all the core campaigns that we do, we use your packages. All of them are listed on newfoundlandandlabrador.com and Stay at Home Year, and they are all pushed out through newsletters. They're pushed out through digital campaigns, etc. So we need those packages and experiences up there. If you're open, if you're open and if you want to avail of this opportunity, please do so. Don't open for it necessarily, because as Michaela said, it's 4% of the market, 4% potential. However, if you are, please get those packages up and put them online. We're looking for them for the Maritimes campaign by November 27th. Okay, that's the deadline. If you can put them up on Newfoundland and Labrador Tour Operator portal by then, we'll be able to use them in some of the digital campaigns. Now, remember, if you don't make that deadline, if you haven't got that deadline, it will be listed on newfoundlandandlabrador.com, on Stay at Home Year, et cetera, so it will be there. Operators are standing by at the portal. And if you have any issues or questions, please, if you got issues with the portal, contact the portal team. They're there for you. They're ready to help you. If you want more information on this program or packaging or any of that stuff, you always can go to your DMOs. They're there for you as well as your tourism regional development staff. They're there for you as well. Not only is this an opportunity, but make sure you update. We say it all the time, and I feel like a broken record, but if you are open this winter and you want to promote for this winter, look at your online channels, look at newfoundlandandlabrador.com, and include some references to winter in that listing if you choose to do so. Other marketing opportunities, and I'm never ever going to stop harping on this. I do apologize if I sound like a broken record, but continue to develop and share videos, work images, stories about your experiences and your region. Work with your DMOs on this. They are stellar at this. They've been doing very, very successful work over the summer and fall years, and moving into now winter season, snow and vacation winter season. Continue to engage on those social media channels. Tell your stories about winter experiences. Oh, what a lovely snowfall that's coming down in this beautiful, pristine area next to a lake. Or this is what's happening in St. John's during the winter in St. John's, the urban feel of St. John's during that time. Continue to talk about your stories and things like that in social media. Contact local PR and local media about what you're doing. And as always, and this is really important, as I noticed from Michaela's research, is they're not coming for one thing unless they're a niche market like a skier or a snowmobile or something else. But they also want to do everything else. They want to do other things, a bit of skating, a bit of snowmobiling, a bit of tubing, dinner, walking around, hiking, walking, all those types of things. So it makes sense, as we always say, to work together, to bring a package or an experience together. So cross-promote each other, work together in each region. As we said before, and I will always say, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Over to you, Craig. Where do I stop sharing? There we go.
Thanks very much, Andrea. I've got so many buttons to press here that it's hard to keep up with everything. Great presentation again. So because we had over 100, we did the webinar thing, but if people have questions now, if you raise your hand, and I know that you're able to raise your hand, you should see a blue hand on your screen. If people raise their hand for a question, I can allow you to speak. So, and that's what it says. It's not, I'm not being too high on my horse here. So,
Randy, Craig, there's also questions in the chat. So I'm wondering whether or not we should start with those questions first and then go from there. What do you think?
We could do that. I thought they might want to ask them in person now that we have this capability, but
we could read them out.
I'm not seeing any questions, so let's jump in there in the Q&A once I find.
I can help out if you like.
You go ahead and do that.
Okay, so one question is, Michaela, how many of these people who are planning to come in winter are planning to come to Labrador?
Of the maritime travelers?
Yes, indeed. I think that was the reference.
We do not have that information.
Okie dokie.
Ask where specifically they were planning to go.
Okay. Next question. What is the market size of that 4% maritimes with intentions to travel?
That will be the 60,000, 60 to 61,000.
Okay. Given this is a new campaign into the Maritimes, is there any general input you can share from Atlantic trade operators on their interest in this campaign? I'd have to follow up with you on that particular question, Randy. There was some thoughts. There are, I'll have to get more details, but there are some, we have heard anecdotally that there are some trade in Atlantic Canada are doing specific tours to either to ski or to snowmobile. But generally, we haven't canvassed them all, but I don't think there's a big pickup for general touring at this time. I will confirm that. Andrea, okay, another question. Andrea spoke to general awareness starting in December and targeting specific audience for the digital campaign in March. Very good. Yes, I did. Has the TCAR team defined the audience they plan to target through the digital campaign? Thanks. Working on that. We're looking at that now. Remember, you guys saw the research, like I think it might have been 12 hours after I did. So we haven't really put it all together. So it will probably be a little bit more specific. And those who are doing marketing campaigns, let's coordinate them, okay? It makes sense for us all to work together and build on things. Those are all those questions, Craig. Yes, Michaela.
I was just going to add something in terms of targeting specific residents in the Maritimes. So we have in our data set that we have sub-regional breakdowns. Like we can have a look, for instance, where interest in skiing or snowmobiling or local cuisine, where that specifically is dominating interest levels. Like we can look at Halifax specifically and say, okay, in Halifax, this is what Halifax residents are most likely to be interested in. So we do have some sub-regional information. If anyone is interested in that, we can certainly have a look. But again, at the end of the day, because of the sample that we have, everything depends on how many respondents we have for certain questions, but we can certainly look into it. There's potential.
Okay. Randy Leto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Craig. Hope you can hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good. You're coming through.
Okay. I can't see who's on the who's participating here, but I thought I saw early registration indicating some interest from PAL Airlines. So I'm just my question is for supplemental to the travel trading question is, what interest would PAL Airlines have in this campaign? Is there anything that they would like to see from industry and from this investment that would help them with their ability to get Maritimers into the province?
Andrea, do you have any? Oh, Stephen Short is here from PAL. Okay, Stephen, can I turn your microphone on? Let me find you, bud.
How'd it go, Stephen?
Oh, there he is. I'm going to allow you to talk, Stephen.
That's a dangerous thing, allow me to talk, Craig.
I can also shut you off, Steve.
A lot of people wish they had that option some days. Randy, great question and great job today. Definitely some interesting facts. I guess for all those interested, a lot of the players are here on the line. We've had some conversations. I know Andrea, myself and you have been talking regularly. Craig, I know you had some meetings recently. We've actually been going out to Randy. You're on my call list. So obviously we're all in this Atlantic bubble together. You know, PAL Airlines has been very pleased that we've come out on the other side of the, I guess, the first lockdown. We don't know what the future holds. Came out in a relatively strong position. We've increased. There's no, worst kept secret in the industry right now is we've upgraded to some Q400s. We've increased capacity within Newfoundland and Labrador. And of course, we've added a laneway between Greater Moncton and St. John's, which ultimately connects, albeit in different fashions, with our network. So to answer your question, Randy, in the broadest terms, our interest is now there. We've always been very much driven by, our natural resource, our corporate, our medical travel, connections throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. We've always obviously been engaged with our hospitality partners, but now more so than ever. We've got extra capacity, and as a result, that means we have availability for different pricing within our markets, and we now have a little bit more leeway. And of course, we don't know what the future holds, so we have to work all angles. So we've been very much engaging with the tourism partners. We're looking to engage. I mean, Greater Moncton has a catchment area of St. John, Fredericton, Charlottetown, are all within an hour and 45 minutes of that airport. You have ease of access, high volume of parking, and it is a direct nonstop flight. So you are in St. John's within 2 hours, and then you have connections throughout our network. Randy, I know to your interest, specifically to Labrador and as well to the West Coast. So if there are opportunities, we've been reaching out through the DMOs to work with operators You know, obviously we aren't a packaging operation. We aren't a tourism operator as such, but we are happy to work from a, you know, a promo code, what opportunities are out there and how do we do it? It's a different time. So, you know, we're engaged, we're on board, and we're looking to maximize that route. And just to speak to it for a moment, we have seen a high volume. Moncton, Greater Moncton route has been a much higher volume of leisure travel. I would say the split right now has been about 90% leisure, 10% corporate, whereas we're very much used to a 70% corporate, 30% other. So, and we're looking to build on that. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it in broad strokes. And Randy, you know, we can certainly organize a call for next week between ourselves and have a further chat.
That's excellent, Steve. Thanks very much for being available. And yeah, the message is coming through loud and clear. There's opportunity there. So I guess there's no bad ideas at this particular point, hey?
No, we're open to all parties, and you know, obviously trying to engage through the DMOs right now because they've got the best reach, and of course with the department. But we've been having some excellent conversations with industry partners and some of the local tour operators as well, and packaging, what I'll call packaging operators in the province as well. So it's been going well, and I think everybody's on the same page with this one.
Fantastic. Thanks, Steve. And maybe in the chat window, you can just put in your email or something if somebody wanted to reach out. Just give a bit of a way to connect. Randy, I took down Randy's hand and he put it back up, so I guess he's not finished. Randy, go ahead.
Thanks, Steve. Good to hear you know, proactive in looking at some of these opportunities. I truly believe there are some. And for the benefit of adding to what you said, snow is on the ground in Labrador. Ski facilities are open in Labrador. And we spent some time last year developing new content, new video content around some of that product in Labrador West. And we certainly have a reputation for organizing great events in winter. And so we're anxious to speak with you. And I think in terms of what the research is saying, what Michaela has presented, that some incentives and some partnership will go a long way, I think, to you know, really seeing some testing some benefit of our reach for the first time out into a winter campaign in the Maritime. So thank you very much. Look forward to chatting with you.
Thanks, Randy. Jeff is asking, with the marketing campaign, what happens when travelers arrive with respect to capacity limits inside restaurants and bars? Andrea, I don't know if you have an answer for that, but I can start one.
Okay. Clean it right.
You know, these restrictions that are in place are very much in the news in the last 2 days. So the restrictions are there. We're seeing in other parts of the country where they're tightening up on those restrictions. And I think having the Premier take part in the briefing yesterday was sending a pretty strong signal that they are looking at that closely. The Chief Medical Officer has addressed it a number of times. So it's in the headlines. It was part of a VOC or CBC News this morning. So they are being enforced, they are being watched, and they do have the capacity to enforce those restrictions. Jeff, I don't know if that answers the question, or if you want to jump on, you can talk more clearly. There is a follow-up there from you. You have a lot of interest in snowmobilers, St. John's to Deer Lake, with stay and play packages. Is there an opportunity to work with PAL? Tried 2 years ago to do this. Is there an opportunity to discuss this again? Steve, I don't know if you still are able to talk. Can you unmute yourself? Or do I have to? Let me see. I think
Hello?
I can. Yep, there you go.
Sorry, guys. My apologies. I had a bad connection there. Can somebody give me a quick summary of the question?
If somebody wanted to talk to you about snowmobile tours between, or not tours between, but connections between St. John's and Deer Lake, stay and play packages, is Pal willing to talk about it?
No, I put it to you this way: nothing's off the table right now. We're, like I said, we started sort of with the top down, engaging with the department, the DMOs. But if there's operators who want to reach out, I think Juanita passed along my email there in the chat. Don't hesitate. We're open for a chat.
Fantastic. It's great to have good partners, always. So Kim with Parsons Bus Tours, is there any way we can lobby to have the February long weekend holiday like the provinces to capitalize on winter travel? Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Andrea. Advocacy is surely one of our things, and that's a great idea, Kim. I think we've got to try and maximize every opportunity we have right now. So that is on my list right now to see how one would go about changing a holiday. Very good point, though. Great to see the opportunity in that.
Yes, and I think on a personal note, I think we all feel that a holiday in February, many call it Family Day, would be enjoyed, I'm sure. But I'm not sure of the process either, Craig.
Yeah, we'll look into it. So I'm just checking for raised hands. I'm not seeing any. And I'm checking the questions again, and I'm not seeing any. Do we have any concluding thoughts from Michaela or Andrea?
No, only just to say, well, stay tuned for the resident information. It's coming soon.
Oh,
Excellent.
Michaela, we're looking for it. From my point of view is we are doing a winter campaign. We're expanding into the bubble. We need and would like to participate and promote tourism experiences that are open and available. Packages seem to be, from the research, a way that we can excite people to participate, to get a price point, and also to see that there's so many things to see and do here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So I look forward, and I hope that you guys can do some, will participate. Thank you very much.
We've got a couple of hands raised now. So Cindy and or John, your mic should be open.
Hey, how are you guys? Thank you so much for doing this. So our question is, as part of this winter staycation campaign, is there going to be any part of it that's going to focus on how safe it is to stay in the accommodators in the province? I know that there was a lot of nervousness around staying in places like hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, and inns because of the opportunity for commingling that could happen in hallways, in elevators, in dining rooms. But we know that there's been a lot of implementation of COVID regulated cleaning procedures and how we're doing things. Us, for instance, a six bed and breakfast. We have we're in a 1905 Edwardian, so we have a really large double staircase, a really large wide hallway, and we're also offering in-room breakfast. So there is no commingling that happens. And we're just wondering if there's going to be something that, as part of this campaign, can reach those people, our provincial kin who are nervous about staying in the accommodators because we've all dotted our I's and crossed our T's when it comes to COVID safety. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, I hate muting and unmuting. It's such a pain. I never click the right button. Really good question. Thanks very much for that. One of the things, as you know, is we've been working, H&L's been working really, really great on the Clean It Right program and have a fabulous video that's going on. Overtly in advertising, we wouldn't say, come to Newfoundland and Labrador, we're clean and tidy. However, because that's not what's going to happen, those 4% who are wanting to come to Newfoundland and Labrador are wanting to come. I think on a secondary messaging that we can do through social media and digitally is work into some of the programs, and some of the stuff that Craig and his team have done is some content that we could probably talk it up a little bit more and do it as a layered approach. It would never be our first thing, come, we're clean. It would be reassuring them down the path and down the funnel. So thank you, Craig and his team, for doing some great content that we can probably use and push out.
Great opportunity. We'll follow up. And again, Cindy, thanks very much for the question. Michael Windsor, thanks. It was informative. I'd love to see more information on photography tours. It's an area that's always missing from surveys and promotion. For example, Iceland Tourism makes millions from photo tourism. Are there any plans to promote photography in the province? We have such an opportunity.
Great question, Michael. Photography is a big deal, and you can tell by the visuals that we always do. This is a beautiful place to come and take photos and things like that. We know that. One of the things you need to do when you talk about photography tours is you need to start working out who delivers on that opportunity. And you have a tour company, so that's an opportunity for us to promote that particular product as a photography tour or photography getaway or something like that. So thank you.
So I guess like the final call for nominations, are there any more questions? I'm watching closely the question and answer window and I'm looking for hands. I'm really not seeing any. Again, this is not the last chance. We're all very accessible. So if there's at any point in time you have some questions, make sure that you reach out to your local DMO, reach out to the team here at H&L, and of course our government partners at TCAR are there. And I know the product development team, some of them are online as well. So there's lots of opportunity. We are here to support industry in these critical times. There's really not any bad approach to anything because we're kind of doing it right from the floor these days. So thanks everyone for taking some time today to join this. I hope you found it useful. I hope your questions were answered. And it's great when we all come together. I spoke about this the other day to somebody. You know, we've had such a pummeling to our spirits and to our businesses and to our whole psyche. But when you see people coming together with the enthusiasm to do more and to continue to innovate and continue to invest, I think it speaks to the entrepreneurial spirit, but also the spirit of us as a destination. So on that note, thank you all for all that you do, and I hope you stay safe.